What's up, guys? We are here with the 22nd shelf of my wrestling videos. Starting off with the 2019 Royal Rumble. Yep, we got Ronda Rousey against Sasha Banks, which was a great match. And then you got Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar, which, people loved Finn Balor, but he got squashed by Brock Lesnar big time. Then you got Asuka versus Becky Lynch. And AJ Styles versus the new Daniel Bryan. And I love the new Daniel Bryan storyline. And then you got Shane McMahon and The Miz as the tag champions. And then you've got the 2 Royal Rumble matches. So this was a pretty solid pay-per-view. Then we have Elimination Chamber 2019. Yeah, they got the women's tag belts that are decided in this one. The Iconics, the Boston Hug Connection, Carmella, Naomi, Nia Jax, Tamina, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville, and the Riot Squad in an Elimination Chamber tag team match. I didn't watch this pay-per-view, so I don't know how well that was. Yep, and then you got Finn Balor battles Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush in a handicap match for the Intercontinental title. Then you got Ronda Rousey against Ruby Riott. Then you got Daniel Bryan in the Elimination Chamber against Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles. 191 minutes, so it's not enormously long, this one. Then we have Fastlane, which I believe is Dean Ambrose's last pay-per-view for WWE. So that kind of makes this sad. Yep, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins reform the Shield to face Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. Daniel Bryan defends against Kevin Owens. Yep. And the tag team titles, the Boston Hug Connection against Nia Jax and Tamina. So I never really watched this pay-per-view yet either, so I don't know if it's any good or not. Then we've got WrestleMania 35, which I have seen. Yep, 376 minutes long. Yep, and then you got a triple threat match for the women's titles. This is where we get 2-belt Becky, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch in a winner-take-all triple threat match. Kofi Kingston against Brock Lesnar was an interesting match. Yep, and then the new Daniel Bryan against Seth Rollins. Oh no, it's it's Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan. There we go. Now I got Seth Rollins against Brock Lesnar. Yep, then you got the Boston Hug Connection against the Iconics. Natalya and Beth Phoenix and Nia Jax and Tamina. And Triple H and Batista, which was a great match. So it was an okay WrestleMania. It wasn't the best WrestleMania. Yep, and then we got Money in the Bank 2019. They were starting to shuffle around the pay-per-views a little bit here, but still keeping the themes going. 273 minutes long. Yep, we got Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans. You got Charlotte Flair. Oh, and Charlotte Flair, yep, in a triple threat match. Universal Champion Seth Rollins continues to fighting when he faces AJ Styles and Kofi Kingston. Oh yeah, AJ Styles, yep. And Kofi Kingston puts the WWE Championship on the line against Kevin Owens. And then you got Brock Lesnar, who wins Money in the Bank. Then we have Super Showdown from Saudi Arabia. 284 minutes long. Undertaker and Goldberg, I heard, was absolutely horrible. And then you got Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley, Triple H and Randy Orton. You know, so you had some Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston, Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin. So, I mean, this could be an interesting watch. And then we've got Stomping Grounds, which I heard was as far as in attendance was probably the worst ever in WWE. They had to fake out so much of it. But yeah, you got Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston, Roman Reigns faces Drew McIntyre, Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans. Yeah, I heard this was not the greatest pay-per-view. And how long is this one? 194 minutes. Then we have Extreme Rules 2019. Yep. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch put their titles on the line against Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans in a winner takes all Extreme Rules mixed tag match. Yep. Undertaker returns to his yard to team with Roman Reigns against the best in the world, Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre in a no-holds-barred tag team match. Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe, and AJ Styles battles Ricochet for the U.S. title. I'm sure that AJ versus Ricochet was probably the best match on this card, I bet. But look forward to watching that. Then we have SummerSlam. 279 minutes long. You have Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. And then you got Trish Stratus comes out of retirement to face Charlotte Flair. I remember that match. That was great. Kofi Kingston against Randy Orton. Solid match. Kevin Owens against Shane McMahon was a great match. Yep. And then it's Becky Lynch and Natalya, which was also a solid match. Nice to see Natalya getting her shot. And then for another year in a row, you got Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt again. Interesting. Then we have Night of Champions. Yep, this one is 193 minutes long. Yep, you got Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. Yep. Charlotte Flair. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. That's always a good match. Roman Reigns and Eric Rowan in a no disqualification match. I guess they were trying to push Eric Rowan at this point. Then we've got Hell in a Cell. 192 minutes long. Yep, Seth Rollins versus The Fiend. You got Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan team up to take on Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Then you got Charlotte Flair versus Bayley. So a lot of solid matches here. Should make for a good watch. Then you've got Survivor Series. And this is an interesting Survivor Series too, because now instead of just being SmackDown and Raw, they also put NXT in here, which was a nice little twist. Yeah, so you got Becky Lynch versus the champion Shayna Baszler versus Bayley. So the champions of the three shows. That's interesting. Then you got Team Raw versus Team NXT versus Team SmackDown. And I'm interested to see how that works. Then you got Rey Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar, which should be an interesting match. They've never faced each other. Then you got Daniel Bryan against Bray Wyatt. So this should be an interesting pay-per-view, and this is 195 minutes long, so it's not enormously long either. Then we have TLC, 195 minutes long. Yep, Roman Reigns against King Corbin. The New Day versus the Revival in a ladder match. I'm sure that was a great match. WWE should never let the Revival leave. And then you got a love triangle between Bobby Lashley, Rusev, and Lana in a tables match. Yeah. Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch versus the Kabuki Warriors. Yep, and then Bray Wyatt versus The Miz for the title, I guess. Then we've got the Royal Rumble. 308 minutes long, Jesus. And I believe this is the Royal Rumble where Brock Lesnar puts his belt on the line in the Royal Rumble. This was probably one of my favorite Royal Rumbles of all time right here. If you haven't watched Royal Rumble, definitely, if you're going to check one out for the first time, watch this one. Yep, you got the Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin, Becky Lynch and Asuka. Yeah, so definitely a fun Royal Rumble to watch. Check this one out. Then we've got Super Showdown. This is right before COVID lockdowns. So this will be the last show in person that, people would be able to see 192 minutes. Yep, Bray Wyatt versus Goldberg. I'm sure that's not good. Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin again. Yep, Brock Lesnar versus Ricochet. That could be interesting. Yep, and then Bayley versus Naomi. So, I mean, this could be an interesting pay-per-view to see. Then we've got WrestleMania, and now we're in the COVID lockdown period here, so wrestling in front of no fans. Yep, and it's 476 minutes long. Yep, you got Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. Yeah, and then Goldberg versus Braun Strowman. You got Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch, John Cena and Bray Wyatt, AJ Styles and Undertaker, which I heard was an amazing match. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, Edge and Randy Orton. I mean, I heard like the Edge and Randy Orton, John Cena, Bray Wyatt, and AJ Styles Undertaker matches were phenomenal, but they were recorded beforehand. So, I mean, they weren't live, so they could take time to redo and redo and redo to make them perfect. So you got to see a lot more of these cinematic type of matches, which you probably won't see anymore now that the fans are back. Then you've got Money in the Bank. I like this twist too about putting it in the tower. I didn't watch this match, but I want to watch this match. If you have seen it, comment down below and let me know if it's any good. 211 minutes long. Braun Strowman against Bray Wyatt. Bayley and Tamina. And then you got Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. So this should be an interesting one. I want to see it just to see how this Money in the Bank works, because I guess they got to go to the top of the tower, climb the ladder to grab the briefcase. So I don't know. Then we've got Backlash, the greatest wrestling match ever with Edge and Randy Orton, and again pre-recorded to where they could do these theme type matches. Yep, Edge and Randy Orton, Sasha Banks and Bayley versus the Iconics and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. I'm a big fan of Bobby Lashley, so You have Nia Jackson, Asuka, Braun Strowman versus The Miz and John Morrison with the Universal title up on the line. But yeah, it's different times with no fans. Then we've got Extreme Rules with another one of those themed matches with Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. Yep. First ever Wyatt Swamp fight, yeah. Sasha Banks against Asuka. Drew McIntyre against Dolph Ziggler. Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins in an eye for an eye match. I don't know how good this show will be. Then we've got SummerSlam 2020. 190 minutes long. Again, in front of no fans. Yep, Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Braun Strowman versus The Fiend. Then you got Bayley versus Sasha Banks. Dominic Mysterio in his first match against Seth Rollins. Yep, and you got the returning Roman Reigns, and this is right about when he starts his head of the table gimmick. And then we've got Crown Jewel. This is from 2021, I believe. Yep, 300 minutes long. Jesus Christ. You got Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul. Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. That's a match I want to see. Bianca Belair against Bayley. You got Asuka and Alexa Bliss. And you got Omos versus Braun Strowman, which I'm sure is horrible. But yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this out. And that'll do it for this this shelf of my wrestling collection. If you like content like this, please like and subscribe. Your support is much appreciated. I'm also over on Letterboxd. The link is over in the profile of this page if you want to follow me there. Otherwise, until next time, guys.